Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, they traded their coaches. They didn't trade any players in the draft. They traded their coaches, and a lot of people think they know why. So
the WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to be just another snooze fest until Caitlin Clark pulled off a move so savage that it left the entire WNBA in splits. While the rest of the league was still grumbling about jersey sales and all-star voting, Clark took the spotlight by quite literally rewriting the rulebook. During the WNBA All-Star Draft live on ESPN, Caitlin Clark looked directly into the camera and dropped a nuke by trading her all-star coach. You heard that right? She didn't trade a player or a reserve. She traded the freaking coach.
Caitlin Clark was supposed to be coached by Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve. Nafisa Collier was supposed to be coached by New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. They swapped coaches. Cheryl Reeve, dodged the bullet. Thank God I don't need to coach Caitlin Clark, man. Man, I can't deal with that. I would have had to swallow so much pride, I can't do that. Fee.
Can you believe it? Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier were voted captains of the WNBA All-Star teams. Clark, unsurprisingly, had an overwhelming lead in fan votes because she's the most watched player in the league. She's the face of the league and the reason why WNBA ticket prices are higher than a Taylor Swift concert.
All right, so as y'all can see, man, Caitlin Clark ended up getting the All-Star captain vote. Shout out to her, man. I already felt like she was going to get it.
But there was one problem. The league assigned Cheryl Reeve as the coach for Team Clark. Someone very controversial, someone couldn't stop side-eyeing Caitlin all season. This is the same coach who acted like Clark's popularity was a personal insult. The same Cheryl who, when fans complained about Clark being snubbed from Olympic coverage, replied with a snarky, "That part." If ever saw pettiness, Reeve was the CEO of it.
So last year, Coach Cheryl Reeve had a few things to say about Caitlin Clark on Twitter. This was one of the exchanges. Cheryl Reeve tweeted about a preseason game and how the Lynx weren't going to be playing and that the Lynx game, wasn't going to be televised. And so somebody commented, they said, "Is there a reason why it's not being shown?" And someone else commented and they said, "Because they only care about Caitlin." And Cheryl Reeve tweeted and she said that part. A lot of people felt like this was very unprofessional for a coach to be engaging in the fan commentary.
So when the All-Star coaching assignments were announced and Clark got Reeve, you could almost feel the collective eye roll from fans across the country. Oh, great. Caitlin stuck with the coach who didn't even want her at the Olympics. The same coach who couldn't go a full interview without passive-aggressively downplaying Clark's impact. It was awkward, it was messy, and it was peak WNBA drama. But Caitlin, she wasn't here for the drama. She was here to clean house.
This opened up. Is there any player that you're looking to get to? And remember, it has to be apples to apples trade here. Starter for starter, reserve for reserve. The good news is you can't go wrong with this type of talent. Anyone looking to make a deal here?
To be completely honest, I love my team. I think they're great. I don't have any intentions of really trading any of them. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Bee's going to take her coach. Sandy Brondello, let's get it.
Fast forward to ESPN's live draft night. Malika Andrews, who was probably expecting a few cute trade offers for bench players, casually asks if either captain wants to make any changes. Before she even finishes the question, Clark proclaimed loudly, "I am trading coaches." Mic drop. The entire ESPN panel was left blinking in confusion. Caitlin Clark didn't just bend the rules, she yeeted them into space.
Bruh, tell me y'all just saw Caitlin Clark destroy Cheryl Reeves on national TV. I know y'all saw free smoke, ayy, free smoke, ayy, free smoke.
That's right. Clark didn't even try to sugarcoat it. She dumped Cheryl Reeve on live television in front of millions of viewers and smiled while doing it. And here's the kicker. The WNBA let her. No pushback, no objections. Just stunned silence and then a whole lot of clapping. Because deep down, even the league knew Clark was right. Reeve had no business coaching the all-star team of a player she's been low-key feuding with all season. This wasn't a team, it was a hostage situation. And Clark just rescued the all-star game with a bang.
That was so much fun. In the chat, we said, look at that boss move. I don't want Cheryl Reeve. She didn't want me for the Olympics. I don't want her coaching me for the All-Star game. That's right. And so we're doing a swap-a-roo. Caitlin Clark's team will take Sandy Brondello. Nafisa Collier's team will take Cheryl Reeve. Caitlin said, no, Thank you.
And let's not forget, Cheryl Reeve is also the head coach of Team USA, the same Team USA that decided to leave Clark off the Olympic roster in one of the dumbest, most short-sighted decisions in recent sports memory. Oh, and don't worry, Reeve had her excuses lined up. Something about experience, fit, and other mambo-jumbo. But everyone with 2 brain cells knew it had more to do with egos and politics than anything basketball-related.
Also, it is good to note that Cheryl Reeve was the head coach of Team USA last year, and of course, they did not select Caitlin Clark. They did not bring her to the Olympics. And so with all of that, Caitlin said, you know what? Why don't we trade coaches, Fee? You can have your own coach, and I'll take Sandy. And Fee was okay with that. It seemed like something they agreed upon.
And here's the thing. Reeve's behavior didn't just raise eyebrows, it lit them on fire. Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan even called out Reeve's tweet as stunningly bad behavior. And let me tell you, when journalists like Christine Brennan are calling you out, you have fumbled the ball big time.
How much of that was Cheryl Reeve, who was acerbic all last season about Caitlin Clark? How much of that was her, and how much of that was USA Basketball?
I think it was both. I mean, officially, Cheryl Reeve was not on the selection committee, but she's the coach of the team, right? So we weren't born yesterday, you and I. Also, just stunningly bad behavior by Cheryl Reeve, tweeting at and about Caitlin Clark, kind of blaming her for not having her games on, Minnesota Lynx on TV, but only, Caitlin games on TV. That's the...
Cheryl Reeve's antagonistic comments about Caitlin Clark were enough proof. But Brennan didn't stop there. She went ahead and pulled the receipts to showcase how Cheryl acted out in her bias against Clark and got her snubbed from the Olympics team. I mean, this is hate at a completely different level, and it could even be considered an abuse of authority at this point.
That makes sense, but the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
But here's where things get more interesting. After Reeve's hate tweets went viral, she didn't apologize. Instead, she proceeded to delete all tweets and accuse the journalist of lying and spreading misinformation. Can you believe this? I mean, this is gaslighting on a whole new level.
Was originally meant to play for Cheryl Reeve. You guys don't know who Cheryl Reeve? She was the Team USA coach who basically has said a bunch of negative things on social media about Caitlin Clark, who had like a bad write-up in Christine Brennan's book, then deleted all the tweets and she deleted a bunch of tweets, said the tweets never existed in the first place. And
just when you thought the drama was done, Cheryl Reeve decided to hop on national radio and make things even messier. Yep, instead of offering a hint of humility or even a tiny smidge of accountability, she pulled a full pivot and deflect like she was auditioning for a masterclass in gaslighting. According to her, everything you saw and everything Christine Brennan wrote was a piece of fiction. Just a spicy novel in the fantasy aisle, apparently.
That particular situation had nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. It had everything to do with a WNBA social media post that promoted one preseason game and not all preseason games.
Reeve didn't just deny playing politics with Caitlin Clark's Olympic snub. She flat out claimed she was the real victim here. Not Clark, not the fans, not women's basketball. Nope, Cheryl Reeve, in her mind, is the one being unfairly targeted, the villain in someone else's story. That's right, she basically told America that Christine Brennan was using her as a plot device in some fictional takedown piece. Because it couldn't possibly be that fans saw through her Olympic Committee poker face and connected the dots. No, it's Christine's wild imagination, apparently.
Games. And so
she was still mad about her team not getting the credit, man. All this started because Caitlin Clark get all of the love from the fans, bro. That's what she jealous about, dog.
Simply said that.
Let's just pause right there. This is the same Reeve who liked tweets dismissing Clark's impact. The same Reeve who quote tweeted a completely unrelated WNBA preseason complaint and conveniently made it seem like Clark was being unfairly promoted by the league. And now she's telling us we got it all wrong, that the tweet wasn't about Clark, that the Olympic snub had nothing to do with the rookie who's led every metric of attention, performance, and fan engagement since day one? Please. That's the most idiotic argument I have ever heard in my life.
I also posted things when Nafisa Collier was not including in promotion of the greatness of our league, and I, made posts. And so if Christine Brennan were being thorough and a legitimate reporter in this situation, she would have gotten full context, but it didn't fit the narrative. Christine Brennan likes to have a villain in her storytelling. I am Christine Brennan's villain. That's what that's the sword she's gonna die on. And it's a fiction, the stuff that she has written about me and my interest in Caitlin Clark being on or off the team.
We're supposed to believe that Cheryl Reeve, WNBA lifer and calculated media voice, just randomly decided to critique a WNBA social media post and that it just coincidentally involved a game featuring Caitlin Clark? The reality is, Cheryl's latest rant only further proves what fans already suspected. This wasn't about representation or holding the league accountable. This was about trying to knock Clark down a peg because she showed up, took the spotlight, and changed the game before the old guard could adjust. And rather than applaud the growth, Cheryl made it personal.
Cheryl Reeve, guys, then when that person said, "Why is this?" and then someone said, "Caitlin Clark," an unknown person on X, Twitter. And then Cheryl Reeve, the Olympic coach, while Caitlin Clark was still in the selection pool, unbelievable, goes that part. She types that part in the response to, "It's Caitlin Clark."
And now that the backlash has gone nuclear, she's playing victim. Classic. If Cheryl really wanted to hold the league accountable, maybe she could have used her platform to ask why foul after foul against Clark was ignored. Maybe she could have called out the inconsistencies in how rookies are treated, or how players are publicly mocking the WNBA's biggest draw. But no, she saved her outrage for when a league post promoted a Caitlin Clark preseason game. But God forbid the league finally try to market something that people are actually watching.
All right, so Cheryl Reeve was spotted at this press conference here, basically giving out her frustration or her dislike, if you will, about the coaches' votes. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, so I told her playing like an all-star is good. That's why they, selected her. Oftentimes 4. So really disappointing. Really, really happy for Courtney. The obvious one was Fee, but we are disappointed in the coaches voting with regard to their selections for all-stars.
The funniest part? Her entire excuse falls apart under 5 seconds of logic. The post she complained about didn't exclude other teams. It simply highlighted the one game that had hundreds of thousands of eyeballs. And now you have a problem with the All-Stars team selection? Give me a break. But that's the real issue, isn't it? Clark isn't just growing the league, she's redefining who the league is for. She's bringing in new fans, broader demographics, and fresh money.
Okay, they have the highest audience they've seen in 24 seasons in the WNBA games. Televised games with Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever averaged 1.18 million viewers compared to 394,000 for all other games. There were a record 22 games that averaged over 1 million viewers, 19 of which involved Caitlin. So, I mean, you'd think they'd be saying thank you. They're not saying thank you.
And all of this makes some people very, very uncomfortable. Especially Cheryl Reeves, who is a part of the old guard WNBA and has no idea how to function in a professional league with national attention. So Cheryl decided to air her discomfort under the guise of league equity. And when called out for it, she turned the spotlight on the journalist who dared to ask why Clark was being excluded from Team USA in the first place.
Brennan, speaking about Cheryl Reeve, we know Cheryl Reeve is one of those good old, you-know-what type women, I ain't going to say. But I feel as if Caitlin Clark made the right decision in pretty much giving the boot of a lifetime to Cheryl Reeve. She had to go, bruh. She had to go. So
let's be honest, Caitlin Clark should have been on that Olympic roster. Not as a pity pick, not for token representation, but because she earned it. She earned it with her play, with her poise, with the way she carried the weight of 1 billion eyes and still put up numbers that vets couldn't touch. And Reeves stood in the way of that.
I still think Caitlin Clark should have been on the team. And to a lesser degree, Angel Reese. I think she should have been on the team too. But definitely Caitlin Clark.
But now that Clark has taken control, built her brand, and publicly ousted Reeve from coaching her all-star team like a boss with a clipboard, Reeve's stuck trying to claw back her credibility. But The damage is done. She's been exposed. Her bias is on full display. And her attempt to flip the script only made things worse. Because here's the thing. Caitlin Clark didn't respond to the Olympic snub with drama. She didn't get messy, she didn't call people out or throw tantrums. She showed up, she worked, she smiled.
Were intentional, and Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never, points the finger, but it happened again.
And then she kicked everyone's butt on the court. That's how you respond to nonsense. That's how you silence critics. And that's why fans trust her over the ones throwing stones from glass podiums. So, who did Clark bring in instead? None other than Sandy Brondello. Class, grace, a coach with an actual working relationship with Clark.
And so with all of that, Caitlin said, you know what? Why don't we trade coaches, Fee? You can have your own coach and I'll take Sandy. And Fee was okay with that. It seemed like something they agreed upon before the draft, but that
The same Brondello who, earlier this season, stood up and applauded when Caitlin drained her third three-pointer in 28 minutes against her Liberty. Brondello didn't sulk. She didn't roll her eyes. She clapped. She respected the moment. And that's exactly why she got the nod. Caitlin didn't just trade a coach, she upgraded. Let's be real, this whole saga is peak movie material. Imagine a sports biopic where the rookie sensation doesn't just dominate on the court, but also orchestrates power plays off the court.
It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina. So therefore, maybe Stewie wants to come on over to my team.
Whoa.
Let me know. Fee, you want to give me Stewie?
We have breaking news here. I don't know that I've heard of a coach being traded in the All-Star game. This is something that you're agreeing to, Fee. There's no terms to this deal.
This is giving vibes like, don't mess with me if you can't handle the spotlight I bring. And the best part? Clark never once raised her voice. She didn't throw shade. She didn't subtweet. She handled it with quiet authority. And that's what made it lethal. It's poetic justice, really. Cheryl Reeve spent months trying to minimize Caitlin's impact, only to be publicly traded by her like a disgruntled intern.
I agree with Cheryl, I agree with the trade. I love Cheryl, she's my coach here. And you know what, that's just gonna be worse for Team Clark because now we got more chemistry on our side, we got more synergy, we know what we expect from each other, so that was a bad move on your part, Caitlin, we're taking you down.
Oh!
The truth is, Cheryl got hoisted by her own pettiness. If Reeve had played it smart, she could have ridden Clark's wave, even if just for optics. But instead, she chose to dig her heels into the anti-Clark camp. And now she's standing on the other side of the court, watching the rookie she tried to sideline take full control of the narrative. It's not just a coaching change, it's a cultural reset.
Caitlin just gave her a straight up, man, forget you and get off my team.
What Caitlin did was about more than basketball. She sent a message to the league, to her teammates, to her fans, and to her haters. I'm not just here to play the game, I'm here to change it. She looked at a system that was clearly rigged with politics and favoritism, and she said, nope, not today. And somehow, impossibly, she pulled it off. This whole coach trade thing, it's never been done before, ever. Not in the WNBA, not in the NBA, not even in youth leagues. You don't trade coaches during an all-star game. That's not how it works. But Clark didn't care. She didn't ask for permission, she took it. And because she's Caitlin Clark, the league blinked. Because at the end of the day, they need her more than she needs them.